The wind whispered secrets through the darkened forest, carrying a melody so pure it seemed woven from the stars themselves. Beneath the silver gaze of a trembling moon, a lone figure moved through the shadows. Orpheus, his lyre cradled like a fragile heartbeat. Somewhere, beyond the veil of mist and shadow, a faint glimmer of light danced. Eurydice, shimmering like a dream.
Every step forward was a step into the unknown, and every note he played trembled with a truth he dared not speak. For the gates of the underworld yawned wide, and the gods were watching. Shadows clung to the edges of his path, whispering secrets of lost souls. A cold breeze carried the weight of ages, as if the very air held its breath in anticipation. Even the faint glow of his lyre seemed fragile against the vast darkness before him. Orpheus had loved her from the first moment he saw her beneath the silver light of the river, where her laughter had danced like sunlight on water, and her hair flowed like a river of gold. Their days were a fragile paradise, each moment steeped in joy and music, and each evening was a soft hymn to the life they shared. Even in the quietest moments, the air seemed to hum with the promise of their boundless love.
But the world is never gentle with those it envies, and fate's shadow moved silently. Eurydice, wandering through the meadows in the quiet warmth of a sunlit afternoon, was bitten by the unseen fang of a serpent. Her cry shattered the serene air, a piercing note that clutched at Orpheus's heart, and when he reached her side, the light had already left her eyes. Grief, raw and burning, wrapped around him like a suffocating shroud, yet within it rose a single, unyielding thought. He would go to the underworld itself, if that was where he must travel, to reclaim her from the clutches of death. Even as shadows whispered doubts, his heart blazed with a fire that not even Hades could extinguish. He descended into shadows no mortal had walked with hope in their chest. The underworld unfolded before him like a land of whispered secrets, a place where the air shimmered with unseen fire and mist wove between jagged cliffs. Each step echoed with the sighs of the lost, and the faint glow of distant spirits flickered like fragile stars. Even the silence seemed alive, holding its breath as if the world itself watched his journey. Rivers flowed like liquid night, and the very ground beneath his feet seemed alive with a subtle pulse, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Shadows twisted and shimmered along the jagged banks, whispering secrets of souls long lost, and even the faintest flicker of light seemed to tremble in awe of his passage. Each step carried him closer to the realm of Hades and Persephone, and every note of his lyre became a plea, a beacon, a thread of light against the suffocating darkness. The air itself seemed to shiver with his music, and faint echoes of lost voices lingered like whispers guiding him onward.
Ghostly forms flickered at the edges of vision, neither cruel nor kind, simply watchers of a mortal's audacious hope. Their silent gazes weighed upon him like 1,000 untold stories, and even in their stillness, the air seemed alive with the echo of forgotten fates. When he arrived at the throne of the underworld, the air seemed to vibrate with expectancy. Hades' gaze was like polished obsidian, calm yet impossible to measure, while Persephone's eyes, luminous and haunting, held a quiet compassion. Orpheus played. Each string of his lyre was a shard of his soul, a trembling reflection of his love and sorrow, and the music coiled through the shadows, bending even the will of gods.
Walls shimmered and cracked, rivers stilled, and the spirits leaned closer, drawn to the fragile heartbeat of longing embedded in every note. Silence followed, a weight so profound that even the echoes dared not disturb it. Then, as if the music itself had woven a bridge between worlds, Eurydice appeared, her form ethereal, almost unreal, trailing a glow that made the darkness weep with envy.
Happiness surged through Orpheus, tempered by a fragile tension. He must not look upon her until they had left the underworld, for the god's decree was absolute. With trembling steps, he led her toward the surface, his lyre still singing the unspoken words of their love.
Shadows clung to her, whispering doubts and fears, yet her soft presence was his anchor. Every heartbeat, every echo carried the fragile promise of life regained, and yet the world felt impossibly thin, a fragile sheet stretched between hope and despair. And then, in the last breath of freedom, Orpheus faltered. The light ahead beckoned, warm and forgiving, and the longing to see her, To confirm she was truly there, overpowered reason. His eyes turned, and in that instant, the magic shattered. Eurydice's glow dimmed, her form blurred like smoke caught in the wind, and she was gone. The air itself seemed to sigh with grief, and Orpheus fell to his knees, a single note escaping his lips that carried the weight of loss, love, and eternal longing. He returned to the mortal world, but it was no longer the same. The rivers sang differently, the forests whispered of absence, and every note he strummed was touched with the memory of what he had lost. Even the wind seemed to carry a lament, as if nature itself mourned alongside him, and shadows lingered longer in corners, echoing the love that could never be reclaimed. Yet even in despair, Orpheus's music held beauty unmatched, for it bore the truth of love and grief entwined. And so his story endured, a luminous shadow in the hearts of those who listened, a reminder that some loves are too deep for the world, too fragile for fate, and too eternal for death. Even as centuries passed, the echoes of his lyre lingered, carrying whispers of Eurydice across the winds of time. And so the haunting melody of Orpheus lives on, a testament to love that defies even death, to longing that echoes through the ages, and to the fragile beauty of what we hold most dear. If the music of this tale has stirred your heart, let your voice join the song. Like, share, and subscribe, and journey with us into the timeless realms of myth and wonder. Every click is a whisper to the gods, a promise that these stories will live forever, and that together we shall wander once more through the magic, the mystery, and the eternal light of legend.